Begin transmission. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Outer Rim transmission number 37. We got a very big week. I had a strong feeling. I told you guys in the chat that we would get some pretty big news for Star Wars this week, and I must have been guessing the right thing because, man, we got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. We got the new Star Wars Eclipse trailer. We're going to be breaking that down shot by shot as if it's a movie trailer because, man, oh man, is there a lot in there. We also have a trailer for Star Wars Hunters, which came out in the beginning of the week, so I'm going to mention a couple things about that I've learned. We also have some casting news and 3 different Star Wars The Book of Boba Fett TV spots to talk about since they've been building up and we just haven't gotten into it with our commentaries along the way. So how are you guys doing tonight? You ready to break down some pretty cool Star Wars things?
Yeah, let's get into it, man. I'm looking forward to just talk about what came out, give my opinions on it. Y'all know how I feel about video games when it comes to Star Wars, so I might be the negative one in today's podcast.
I can be in the middle sometimes when it comes to Star Wars video games myself as well, Milton. But I think it will be an interesting discussion tonight for sure, and we have a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah, so as I like to get the business out of the way here, you guys are watching us live. You can always listen to the podcast on Outer Rim Transmission through the power of Podbean and any kind of podcast service you have, whether it be Apple or Google or Spotify. You can search us and find us on there. And do leave some feedback on whatever service and give us a thumbs up if you can. If you're listening, we are also on YouTube every Friday around 9 o'clock Eastern. And go ahead and support the show if you would like by buying a t-shirt off our Teespring store. You can search our name and you'll find a bunch of selections of t-shirts there as well. So I'm going to kick things off for our week in Star Wars. It's been a couple weeks, so hopefully some things have built up on your guys' end because I was able to decorate my tree, my Star Wars tree this week. That was a lot of fun. I had my girlfriend over and she got a kick out of it. Did a really nice job. I'm going to have to remember to take pictures next time of this thing because it's pretty impressive. Like every year I get like maybe 2 or 3 new ornaments, and it's one of those experiences where it's just like every year I'm pulling stuff out of boxes like, oh, I forgot how cool this Death Trooper is, or oh, look at that General Grievous, or oh, look at that Jedi Starfighter. So it's just a lot of fun, and it just gets me in the mood for a holiday because anymore Star Wars is synonymous with holidays. So that's mine for the week.
And I know for me, I don't know. I think I mentioned this maybe months ago or early into the podcast, but I forgot. Actually, I ran into this today at my house. I was cleaning up my house, and I saw that I had the special edition. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. You have the special edition gold box. Yeah, you guys able to see that? There we go.
Yep.
So because like the last couple weekends, I've been like seeing like this pop up on YouTube with like the videos. Remember like the intro videos to the special editions, how he talked about how they made the changes. And I was like, wait a minute, I have those downstairs somewhere and they're sitting in the box, just collecting dust. So it's nice to see that I have those and they're awesome. Like I'm never getting rid of those.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because after the show, like months ago, I sent you guys a message because I was also looking through my old VHSs and I found like the original VHS trilogy set. And it had like some really kind of cryptic messaging by George Lucas, who was like kind of foreshadowing the future of like Disney buying out Lucasfilm in a way. Because he's like, oh, I hope like generations upon generations are able to enjoy Star Wars. But it was like really interesting because he made some kind of foreshadowing to as if something would be as if he would sell it out or something in the future, or continuing the stories somehow beyond like the scope that was currently. Obviously, we know we're gonna get the prequels, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice, that's what's up.
Oh yeah, like those type of behind the scenes things are always really interesting. Like I love those old VHS tapes, like just getting the interviews. Like I love the one with the original trilogy where it has Lucas and that movie critic interviewing him. Like that's great. I just love the Star Wars VHS tapes. But yeah, like they're a classic. I mean, they really are. And then for my week in Star Wars, I don't really have anything too exciting, I would say. I did get to thinking though today, Like, I had some normal Star Wars stuff like we would normally expect. Like, I watched through all of Mando season 1 the other night when I was just
Oh.
like laying down for bed and stuff. So, that's great. But I got thinking today. So here, where we live, we had a like dense fog advisory today. Like, I looked outside and you literally couldn't see like I couldn't see our neighbor's house, and they're like, right next door to us. Like, that's how foggy it was. So, like, I got to thinking, like, it would be really cool in Star Wars if we got, we have all these environmental planets, like a lava planet, a desert planet. Like, it would be interesting to get almost like a horror type vibe, like get an all fog type planet, like, something in live action, because like that's, it's not an environment, but it's a weather condition, I guess, like Camino would be. Right. So I don't know. I was thinking about that today. I was like, man, it would be cool if we got something like all fog and more of like a scarier feel to it, like, like, I don't know, a Sith hideout or whatever. Like, I don't know. It just got me thinking today, like, that would be an interesting take to put into the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, probably the scariest location in Star Wars is Dathomir, especially if you played Jedi Fallen Order. That place is creepy as all hell, and especially with the Night Sisters that come back from, to live again from the undead. But yeah, we don't really have. Well, no, there is the one planet, Minban. Minban is basically
I
like
forgot
a
about
swamp
that.
planet,
Yeah, that
right?
is true. Yeah, that is actually.
You got the
I completely forgot
Minbanese.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that one, they need to have more stories on Moonband. We were barely there for like 10 minutes in Solo, but I feel like there's some backstory there. They were talking about like the clone jumpers of something something in the Clone Wars. They make a reference on one of those radios, and I think the Rookies episode. So there's a lot of history that can be brought in from. But yeah, it's like that's the thing with Star Wars. Like every planet has its own biome. Every place has one basic weather pattern or terrain. It's just that's how you know it's Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely Star Wars. I mean, I've referenced the robot chicken Star Wars so many times before on here as well. Like, there's a funny meme, or there's a funny little clip in there where it's the crate dragon, before he's like before he's burnt up in the desert, and like it shows crate dragon, and he's talking to his mom, and he's like, Mom, I want to go and explore the desert, and she's like, No, son, you won't survive out there. He's like, Come on, there's got to be stuff out there. He's like, come on, there's got to be stuff out there. That's crazy. That's like saying there's like a planet covered in lava or water or ice or a forest. What are the chances of that? And then he's like, watch out, world. Here comes Crate Dragon. He leaves and it cuts and it says 3 days later and it shows his skeleton and 3PO and R2 walk by it.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, it is true. It's such a running like joke with Star Wars, but I mean, it's branding and it's part of what makes Star Wars unique, honestly.
Yeah. Oh man. So we got a large show to get to, so I kind of want to just cut to the chase, and I'd even say this off the top, but I do want to spend at least a few minutes talking about the comics that came out this week, because man, oh man, if you were me this week, you're a pretty happy camper between a big character that I love showing up and a new Star Wars video game trailer. But we had two comics that came out this week. I'll briefly talk about Star Wars 19, which it's been a long time coming. This series has been kind of hit or miss as far as Luke Skywalker is concerned, so it was nice to finally have a Luke Skywalker centric story where he's going out and he's going to try to become a Jedi Knight now. Like, enough is enough. Like, this is where we're going to see Luke growing into that Jedi Knight we see walking to Jabba's palace, force choking a Gamorrean guard, all right? We see him basically going to different planets, and he actually arrives at Ilum. He actually goes to Ilum, and you see like the big trench that is dug out from the Empire, and the Empire's still there, and he's like, there's nothing left of this planet. I'm getting out of here. So guess where he goes next? He goes to Lothal. Freaking Star Wars Rebels. He goes to Lothal, and maybe you can refresh my memory, both of you guys, with what happens to the Jedi Temple in Star Wars Rebels, because apparently Luke went there and he was like, oh, the temple's been like buried. He can't access it. Did something happen in season 2 or 3 or something, where I think with the Vader, or no, something with Vader or Inquisitors or something.
Doesn't, I mean, Milton, you might have to correct me. Isn't when Vader, doesn't the temple like sink? in the
Yeah.
show. I feel like.
I don't remember if that happens, but I do know like the Empire shows up and they, I think they empty it. I mean, I guess they ransack it
Hmm.
because I know they're there and Darth Vader's there at one point
Yeah.
and he's talking to the Inquisitor about it because he's saying how like the Jedi are becoming more powerful. I'm pretty sure they ransack it or they go through it and maybe they bury it. I just don't remember, but I know they're there for a reason. I guess to like destroy it or at least like do something with it.
Yeah. So he leaves that place, and then this is really cool when you have a writer like Charles Soule that's writing this comic. He's written quite a bit of comics, so he's actually making a connection to a previous comic from the Darth Vader 2018 series or something like that. The one that he wrote, the
Right.
second run, where it's like Vader becoming like Batman year one, Vader year one, where he's fitting in his armor and he's doing all this killing with the Jedi survivors, and Luke learns about this Kirak and Fala guy who is one of the first people that Vader kills. Well, anyway, Luke finds a holocron, and it happens to have Yoda like as an instructor for like people in the prequels. So
Mhm.
that's where the issue ends. It was like, oh, cool. Like Luke finds this new information for Yoda continuing his training, even though he's not on Dagobah with Yoda anymore. So that's kind of where it ends. We do see Luke kind of trying to do a Force mind trick or Jedi mind trick. He fails the first time pretty spectacularly, and then he tries again later in the issue, and it actually succeeds as he centers himself in the Force. So it was a good kind of issue for showing Luke growing. Solid issue, but the issue I'm most excited to talk about, and this definitely was kind of going around on Twitter for a while, is Crimson Reign #1 for many reasons. The first reason is this is our second kind of story in the Kira trilogy at Charles Soule's reign. The first one is War of the Bounty Hunters, where we see Crimson Dawn kind of rise from the ashes and try to pull something big for the entire underworld. So we get to see her recruiting the Knights of Ren. She's recruiting these people called the Orphans. She's recruiting Deathstick and the character of Ochi of Bestoon, which you all know from Rise of Skywalker. So she is setting these people on their own missions, and her end goal is, get this, her end goal is to kill Vader and the Emperor. And
Mhm.
this is where it gets really juicy, the details, because there's a little passage in here where she learns that Palpatine is actually a Sith Lord. Because remember, at this time between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, he is still known as just simply a politician. Most people think of Palpatine as, oh, he's just an old guy ruling the Empire. Like, nobody has any idea that he's like this deranged Sith Lord. And she learns this from Darth Maul. Like, it literally says there's like a picture of her working with Darth Maul in the comics, and this is the kind of stuff I've been wanting to see for a long time, because it doesn't look like we're getting a Solo 2. So it looks like they're going to just start feeding us this little information piece by piece throughout these issues of these comics. But she basically learns that Maul was planning his revenge on Emperor Palpatine. And then Maul got killed before he was able to follow his plans out. So Maul, up until this point, had been collecting artifacts, different Sith artifacts and stuff to kind of get an upper edge on
Mhm.
Palpatine. So it's because of Maul that she learns about different ways of maybe killing Palpatine and killing Vader. So that's where the things get really interesting, because she's sending out the Knights of Ren to go to Fortress Vader, Vader's castle on Mustafar. We don't know what's going to happen there yet. But then she's also sending out these orphans, these females. There's three women, and there's this like droid that are going around, and they're purposely like killing off entire installations of these different people. So she's going at they go after Black Sun, the Black Sun Syndicate, and they completely kill everybody to make it look like there's no evidence. So Black Sun sees that this happens, and they say, "Oh, we can't pinpoint this on any kind of competitor, so we're gonna just try to hurt all of our competitors at once." So it's this one action that kind of spreads throughout the underworld, and it's destabilizing the underworld. So now there's like these wars happening between the Pikes and the Black Sun and all these people, and it's because of Kira just like making chaos. And Kira wants the Crimson Dawn to be nimble and small. She doesn't want them to actually like rule the underworld. She wants them to be sort of like the middleman and like offer her services to like offer assassins for certain criminal syndicates. Like, so she's like playing the long game and doing it really brilliantly, where she's actually like orchestrating all this chaos, and the Crimson Dawn will be like basically the last one standing, because you got to understand at this point too, in War of the Bounty Hunters, the Hutt Council has been killed. Like, and it's all because of Kira. Kira actually orchestrated that to happen. So now the Empire relied on the Hutt cartel to do the mischievous stuff that wouldn't look good in the eyes of the people of the Empire. So there's kind of rumors around saying, hey, look, like the Empire's not going to depend on the Hutts anymore. They're going to need another criminal organization to work with to replace the Hutts that have basically betrayed them. So that is what's happening currently in Crimson Dawn. But the big kicker here, the real big thing that got everybody talking online, is Kira meets with one of the leaders of the Black Sun to make one of these deals. His name's Lord Gayuti. I guess that's how you pronounce it. He was first revealed in the Aftermath trilogy of books by Chuck Wendig. Well, anyway, she says, oh, pass on this offer to your boss, Prince Zizor. Just lays out his name just like nonchalantly like that. I'm just like, what? Prince Zizor? Like, that's literally the first mention we ever got of this guy in canon. And it just kind of blew my mind. Like, oh, crap. Like, this guy's it's actually happening. Like, the prince of the Black Sun himself, Prince Zizor. Say what you will about what he does, in the books, but I've always liked him as just like a cool figurehead. He looks cool. He's this green alien. He kicks ass in the video game. Like, this, like the end boss that's going against Vader for Palpatine's approval, right? Like, this is a really cool character. And yeah, some of the stuff in Legends was very gross, very weird, doesn't age well. I understand that, and I understand why people don't like him for that reason. But again, I'm just excited to see what they do with him in canon. And man, oh man, like I'm thinking like, hey, it's a possibility this guy could even show up in the book of Boba Fett at this point, because I mean, you need rivals for Boba Fett, and Black Sun is going to be one of the biggest rivals of all time, because I'm pretty sure they still exist post Return of the Jedi. Actually, Aftermath confirmed that. So we could have Crimson Dawn with Kira. We could have Black Sun with Prince Zizor. It's kind of looking like anything's going to happen at this point. So yeah, that's basically what happened in that issue. But I'll leave it to you guys if you want to comment on all that.
I think like the biggest takeaway from all of that, of course, her learning about the Emperor is a really cool thing, and I like that they are confirmed it more about like the people, like the common people don't really know he's this dark Sith Lord. They just view him as basically a ruler.
Right.
So like that's a pretty cool piece of info. I think that really helps build the overall like tone of the galaxy, or more for like us as an audience. And then also, I think all of this really is just playing more and more like implications leading up to the Book of Boba Fett and the state of things for that show. I just think all of this stuff is pretty much turning into Catalyst, like Catalyst was for Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's the direction they're going with this, because all of this stuff is just like leading up to Book of Boba Fett. It's just too convenient, in my opinion. It's too convenient not for it to happen. Like, it's like the whole, looks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. Like that, it's heading this direction. It has to be. Like, if it doesn't, I would be actually shocked at this point, honestly. So, like, I think it's just, laying the foundation for implications for the Book of Boba Fett and the Mandoverse as a whole, because it could potentially introduce the Crimson Dawn and other criminal organizations into the Mandoverse, who Boba and potentially Din and even like Ahsoka down the road, and Dave Filoni's group of pilots, like all those type of people interacting with them. So I think it's heading in that direction, and we're getting close to it.
Yeah, what do you have to say about this, Milton?
It's fascinating. I think what my takeaway is, I'm glad they're using a character that was liked from the Legends. Because I think he's from the Shadow of the Empire, right? That character.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that. Actually, I have that book on the audio book on my phone. I enjoy that particular storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there's some things about it that are weird, but that was a time of Legends.
Exactly.
So I'm fine with it. And like I said, I'm not a comic book reader to that extent, but it's nice to see that this has potential to build, like you guys mentioned, into Book of Boba Fett. Now, will they get carried away with it if they add these characters? I don't know. Hopefully they use them correctly if they are in it. I just want to make sure that when they do these comics, like, just make sure you're telling a clear story, and it's going to lead to something that hopefully pays off, whether it's in live action or in animation form.
Yeah. So like the way I'm reading these books or this book here is it feels epic in scope. Like this story, I think I told you guys like this feels just from that first issue like this is going to be almost like essential reading. Like there's certain people that say like, "Hey, where should I get with where should I start with comics?" I'd be like, "Well, maybe read with the War of the Bounty Hunters, then read Crimson Reign, then eventually this Hidden Empire series whenever that comes out." I find it really interesting. I don't know if this has any play into it at all. Somebody brought this to my attention. Or like, oh yeah, issue 2 of this series isn't coming out until like February, which is very odd because usually you get one issue a month. So for it to skip a month and for it to come out oddly after the Book of Boba Fett is over with, kind of seems coincidental. But I might be looking too much into it. Like, oh, they want us to read this first issue, but they don't want us to read anything else until after the Book of Boba Fett comes out. Like, there's going to be some spoiler here for the comic. I don't. That seems a little bit far fetched, but I mean, it's just I don't know. I think it'd be kind of fun if that sort of thing happened.
Oh, I think that was intentional. Because why wouldn't you release a comic around the holidays? Like, I don't know. It just I think it was intentional, most likely. Just because of the way, they've done things before. Look, we've had other novels pushed way back. Like, I remember the Last Jedi novel was pushed months after the, and like other novels like that. The Rise of Skywalker novel was pushed months back. And then, I mean, heck, even the Kenobi, the one Kenobi book that's coming out, I believe it's coming out in May.
Mm-hmm.
So like
early May.
So that's potentially coming out right around the same time Kenobi's coming out. So, you have a lot of, it's a pattern. Like they're releasing these things around products or shows or movies they're connected to. So I think if I go out on a limb, I would have to say it most likely is connected, and because it's easy marketing. Because then, even on a book standpoint, like think about it this way: when Book of Boba ends, the publisher. The direct publisher of this book, they could be like, "Hey guys, you just finished Book of Boba Fett. Here's the what happens with Kira next, or something, or in between." So I think there's definitely a chance, or I would say it's probably like a 70% chance that's intentional.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, hey, we just got a couple more weeks until we figure this out, and we also will be talking about Book of Boba Fett specifically in probably the second half of this podcast. So make sure you stick around if you want to hear our thoughts on that, or simply fast forward if you don't feel like listening to this next part, which I can't wait to talk about. So during the Game Awards, which is an event that Jeff Keighley puts on for like the first or second week of December every single year, it's basically like the Oscars for video games, and really what it is anymore is just a huge marketing thing for companies to put out their big reveals, their big trailers, gameplay, cinematics, all that stuff. Yeah, awards are given out, but there is way more time dedicated. It's almost like a mini E3, but in December. It really feels that way. And this year, a lot of big heavy hitter games were revealed from like all publishers, basically. It was a great night. A little long, but a great night. But luckily, I didn't have to wait long. So I'm sitting there, I'm watching a live stream. I'm like, all right, I got home a little later than it started, so I'm catching up. And all of a sudden, I see Lucasfilm Games logo, and I had to pause it. I said, oh, I gotta turn the camera on and start doing this and start doing a reaction, because like I gotta watch this thing for the first time on camera. I know it's something crazy, but I thought it'd be fun to do anyway. So that, this is my bread and butter. I love the Star Wars video games. I told you guys many times, hey, that's what kept me going for the fandom. That's kept going here. That's why I'm here. Probably is because of the video games. So this is my thing. So this trailer comes out, and just initial thoughts from me. We're gonna do our initial thoughts like around the room here, and then we're gonna do an actual legitimate breakdown. I have all images we'll pull, and we'll take a look and see what we can glean. But my initial thoughts are, wow, this reminds me of the Old Republic trailers from BioWare. Like just how everything looks so new and everything seems familiar, especially in that second half when you start seeing the Lucrehawks and you start seeing the transports and different things. Like, this is Star Wars. You see, Jedi fighting, you see space battles, you see creatures, you see like amazing vistas. Some of them might be familiar, some of them completely alien to us. Like, essentially this is Star Wars. They got all those foundational moments. Yeah, there's absolutely no dialogue, but the music is epic. It kind of reminds of like the episode 1 music. There's a lot of choir, chorus in there and different things, but it's just this very much is setting like the table for what to expect. It's more of like I heard somebody put this out there today. It's like a proof of concept. Like, hey, this is not going to be obviously what the game looks like. This is a cinematic. Even though the video game graphics these days are amazing with the next gen consoles, it won't look like that. But this is kind of like the universe we're playing in. So just to give you a brief summary, it's like the High Republic. So we don't know exactly where in the High Republic it is because that's going to be like a 200 to 300 year gap there or before the Phantom Menace. But it's also going to be an action adventure developed by Quantic Dream where it's going to be an ensemble cast. So every game up until this point basically had you playing one character. So this one's going to be almost more like a Star Wars movie than any other game we've played from what I can imagine because it's like you might be jumping around to different characters, different planets. It's all set in the Outer Rim, which is the large focus of the High Republic is them settling out in the Outer Rim. So that to me was really cool. It just seemed like something special when I watched it for the first time. So I'm going to throw it over to Milton on your initial thoughts watching this trailer.
Yeah, let me preface it this way. Again, you guys know how I feel about Star Wars video games and how lately I've been very burned by them. I will say I've always enjoyed the cinematics without question. Like those last or not the last, the Republic cinematics, the old Republic ones were fire. I actually liked the Battlefront 2 cinematics that they released. Dope. This one actually felt honestly very much like theatrical. It was kind of different because I think with them they were playing the drums, right? A lot of the times they're playing the drums throughout the cinematic.
Yep.
I was like, whoa, like this reminded me of what's that movie Ridley Scott did? Prometheus, like the look with those guys banging the drums. I was like, oh, I can watch this movie. So I was very impressed with it. It looked great. Again, visually, it felt like Star Wars with the cinematics. Again, I'm very impressed with that part. I am still apprehensive, and we'll get into this later, about how the game will actually play out. Because again, Star Wars games over the last 5 to 6 years have not been the best or well received. However, I'm going to try to be open-minded. I know the last, or the Fallen Order has been like the one game that everyone really likes. So I am hoping that momentum is built within this new game.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing with the games is from a multiplayer standpoint, yeah, the games have been kind of all over the place. Like story-wise, the ones that have had story have been great. I think they've been good to great for most people. People have enjoyed them. Say what you will about the turn from Iden Versio within the first 3 or 4 missions going from Imperial to Rebel. I think that's what gets most people off the boat when it comes to Battlefront 2. But Squadrons, I think that's a very underrated game. A lot of fun, but also very niche where it's going to be aimed at only people that really like flying games. Not a lot of people tend to like those sort of games, so not a lot of people experience that story. But even so, I thought it was a really solid story. And yeah, Jedi Fallen Order, definitely hands down for me, the best Star Wars game in the last 6 years since Lucas, film gave the rights to EA and all that. Now we have different now this is the fun part because now we're getting these different developers that are giving us these games that aren't just from EA. So the games that are well known, game companies that are well known for having their own kind of niche when it comes to developing games are getting to put the Star Wars license to use depending on if it could translate well to them. So that's why I get excited about that.
Which then, yeah, that's where I was going to go with this. So this is where I'm trying to spin this to be positive now. EA isn't the primary person making the games as often anymore, which I think that's a great thing. Because I know, Ben, you're a huge Madden fan. I like Madden, but EA has fell off over the last 10 years when it comes to Madden. Yep. I think they've gotten very stale, and that's what's sad, in my opinion, is that they've gotten very stale in making games, whether it's sports, science fiction, or action adventure. It's like, wait a minute, there's no innovation. There's nothing that's going to challenge a game player. It's all the same. We're getting the same watered down version of something. However, like you said, Chris, now I don't know what company this is. What is it called?
Quantic Dream.
Did they do Mortal Kombat?
No, so they did basically.
I'm thinking of the Realm one. What's it called?
Oh, NetherRealm.
NetherRealm. Yeah. I'm thinking of them. But no, even that though, this Quantum Dream Company, I'm giving them a chance. I'm going to say, you know what? If you're going, it's new coach, football analogy.
Yeah.
New coach is coming in with their new people. They got a clear house. Let's try to do a rebuild and get this right. So I'm giving them an opportunity to get this done.
Yeah, so basically their history, I'll explain to everybody listening and watching. Quantum Dream has worked a lot with PlayStation in the past. I'm not sure if they were a part of the publisher. I know they're independent now, but anyway, they made Heavy Rain, they made Beyond Two Souls, and they made most recently for the PlayStation 4 was Beyond Two Human. So all those games are very similar where it's like I haven't played them, but it's just like almost like a Telltale game where it's like you make different decisions and they will branch out to make different choices,
Oh, yeah.
and your story ends up being different than your friends. There's a lot of dialogue and not a lot. It's all very strong narrative. I don't believe that they have like a lot of strong like gameplay per se. It's almost like watching or interacting with a movie sort of thing. And that's where I'm kind of like, this could work for Star Wars, but I hope it has something more. Like, I hope
Right.
this isn't a glorified interactive movie. I mean, yeah, it'd be cool, but like the way that this trailer represented was like, I want something more, you know? And it's like, okay, so you got to have maybe a combat designer come in because they showed like people literally in ships, people with lightsabers. So like, let's have some space battles where we're actively participating. Let's have some like Jedi Fallen Order-esque gameplay with the lightsabers. I'm not sure, but they did say it's an action adventure and you're controlling multiple people. So you'll have one
Right.
person on this planet, one person on this planet, and it's going to feel more like, I guess, I don't know if Avengers is the right way to put it, but like, who knows if these characters will ever come together or whatnot, but it's definitely going to be interesting, and that's all we really know so far. I'm going to throw over to Ben, man. What's your initial reactions to this?
Well, initially, when I first started watching that trailer, I didn't realize it was a game trailer, actually. So I paused it and I was literally about ready to message you guys. Oh my gosh, a new Star Wars animated show is coming out because
Oh,
I honestly, I swear, like I watched the first probably 10 seconds of it or 15 seconds of it and paused it and was like, oh my gosh, did they just drop a new animated show? And I literally texted my friend and was like, I think there's a new show. And then I looked at the YouTube description and it was like new game in development, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh man, like I got so excited initially because I was like, holy smokes, there's a new show coming. But that turned out to be a game. But anyways, I think the trailer's really good. It looks interesting. As you said, Chris, it's, we're seeing it's like a similar feel, but it's still different. And we all know, we know it's Star Wars, so that's cool. It's cool they've kind of, hit that vibe, I guess you would say.
mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that about the game developers. That's interesting. I think that could potentially work in Star Wars, but you do have to layer in something else on top of that just to make it more, I don't know, more impactful, I guess, because Star Wars is such a huge brand. It's such a huge audience. And I don't know, we know how Star Wars fans can get, but I don't know if the audience could handle just that for a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I think that's my concern with that in terms of gameplay. And then in terms of just the trailer itself, like I said, I think it was really great, really, really interesting. But my only concern when it comes to any game really is like, I don't want to get super, super hyped about cinematic trailers just because I feel like we've been burnt so many times by cinematic trailers over and over and over. Like the Star Wars Battlefront trailers look amazing.
Fire.
And then the first game stinks. So like, I don't know. I feel like the only trailers for like a game you can actually get a read on is like Star Wars Lego because they really can't do much with the Lego game. They have to show gameplay.
Or actually think about it though. My favorite game to play, honestly, over the last 5 to 10 years, have been the Arkham series.
Oh,
yeah.
Those trailers have been amazing, and the game holds up, and I still play them. Like,
dude, that's the big thing. If this, like for this game though, if they hold up with cinematic trailers, you have yourself a massive hit.
Absolutely.
But then if you don't, look at Madden's trailers every year. The Madden trailer for Madden 22 this year looks awesome. Like, looks realistic. Like it literally looks like something you would see on TV. And then when you get to the game, it's pretty much amped up
Same
graphics, and it's still the same thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's where companies go wrong. And that's my only concern when we get a cinematic trailer like this. But hey, it's a new game, we'll give it a chance and see how it works. And it'll be interesting to see, because I think, I don't know, I don't have any experience with those other games you listed, Chris, but if they could do a multiplayer co-op thing, so like, say if like I could invite like Milton and you, and we start a campaign, like, and we go through the interactive movie part of it, but we're all free playing in it, like I think that could be a lot of fun versus it just being a straight up single player campaign. Like something like that, I think would be fun.
Well,
do they do that? Do they do that? Because again, I'm not familiar with this particular game. Like I know what they are, but the Modern Warfares, do they have that ability in those games? I know those are always popular. Or
they don't usually have co-op. I mean, the multiplayer you can play like in a group, like battle royale mode and stuff like that, or zombies.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm like 99% sure this game wouldn't be multiplayer just from the pedigree of the studio. They've never really made multiplayer games. Like these are the type of games like you'll probably play once and be like, but then if they have multiple decisions, like I might be that person that plays it like 3 or 4 times because I want like every possible story. Right. But yeah, we're gonna get into our breakdown here. I do want to shout out the chat room. We got some lively chat going on. We got Shane Binney, we got Aaron Daly, we got Chris Forsyth, we got Dark Nerdy Gonzo. Welcome everybody. So here we go. We are going to get into our breakdown for Star Wars Eclipse. We're going to go through some shots that I took, and we're going to just explain maybe and try to figure this out as we go, if there's any connections we can make. So we're going to go to this first shot here, and this is of this figure with the drums. And what I will say about this is it's interesting, like that there's a lot of symbolism, I think, in this trailer between the Eclipse, between the drummer or the drummers. There's multiple of these guys. And when I first seen this, I instantly like shouted out Old Republic. I think I even said it on my reaction. I was like, Old Republic, because like just the tools the guy's has in his hands, he looks like more tribal. Like you can't really see like any high tech anything anywhere. So I thought this was like, oh, this could be like going back thousands of years. What was your first reaction just seeing this first shot in a trailer? Like I already know kind of your reaction. Ben was like, "Oh my gosh, this is animated." What was going through your head, Millen, when you first seen this guy?
I mean, like I said, it reminded me of like that Prometheus movie initially, just like the look of it. And again, I didn't know this was a game until I think you posted it in the chat. So again, because I was looking at it, I'm thinking, wait, Star Wars Eclipse. Oh, is this like a show maybe? Maybe it's like a little mini series or something. And when I played it, I was like, oh, like this is just a cinematic. But I'm like, this looks like this could be like is this what the game could potentially be? But I was like, no, that can't be right. But the way they have this shot is very much theatrical. That's what I really enjoyed about it. I love the color scheme. I love how it feels gritty. But also it's got that. What movie have you seen recently? It feels like a little bit of Dune-ish.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, I could totally see that palette.
So maybe that's where I was like, all right, that's kind of dope. So yeah, like it caught my eye. It caught my attention clearly.
Yeah, it's so different than what we've seen in Star Wars trailers, right? And I'm going to say about like, hell, there's absolutely no dialogue, but it's just, okay, here's a bunch of really cool, unique circumstances, and this is one of them, and this is one that keeps repeating. That's why I say there's certain significance, and we'll get into that last shot that's in this trailer at the end, obviously. What about you, Ben? What'd you think about the context of what's going on here?
Well, as you said, I thought at this point in the trailer, I thought this was a show, so I was like on cloud nine because I was like, holy smokes, we're getting a show. Like, I cannot believe it. And I was about freaking out. And then I think it didn't even register with me what the word cinematic meant in terms of trailers. I was like, a cinematic trailer? Like, come on, like a TV show? Like, this is great. And then, I find out it's a game. But yeah, I thought it was a really good, like, appropriate way to basically introduce a new era for Star Wars. Because like you said, it could be back thousands of years. I mean, I remember was it in Catalyst or maybe Bloodlines or I mean, I know you've talked about it before, Chris. Like uh, like random characters like referencing like if they see like books like people don't even use books like because they're so old like they're thousands of years old because everybody in Star Wars it's all digital. So
Mhm.
Hmm.
like the whole drum thing that just like signifies like we're going to probably be going back to that era of more of like I guess modern-ish like more like I guess Earth, more like have these type of technologies like drums or
Yeah.
books or like things like that versus all the tech. So that's kind of what I got out of that basically is like, hey, it's more of like a primitive age.
Yeah. So, I mean, given a bit of context here again, like we're going to the Outer Rim. That's literally where you're playing in this game. You're going to be in the Outer
Mhm.
Rim. And I would imagine a lot of these cultures just haven't gotten space age technology yet. A lot of these, they're just like primitives of these planets that are just, content with living in this way. So that's what I assume is this is just an unexplored planet that you must encounter as somebody that has a ship. And these guys are doing some weird kind of summoning stuff, which we'll get into later. Next thing is the namesake of the show here, and that is an eclipse. So yeah, I love the title of this game, just Star Wars Eclipse. Like it just seems like I guess there's something that relates to Shadows of the Empire in the back of my mind. So anytime I see the eclipse, I'm just like, hey, I know that thing, right?
Yeah.
There's something with the eclipse in Star Wars Legends.
Wasn't I am like I could be thinking wrong, but wasn't Starkiller's ship named the Eclipse?
Oh, wait, that's
Well,
probably
that's
what it
that's
is.
Juno. You think Juno eclipsed
Oh,
the ship?
Juno Eclipse.
Oh,
Oh, okay,
Juno
that's who
Eclipse.
I was thinking of. Yeah, never
No,
mind.
that's funny. It's funny because I just actually started replaying The Force Unleashed again.
Yeah, that
So
that's
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 Juno. He's a
that
pilot.
that's what I got thinking of. Okay, yeah, never mind.
Yeah. I mean, I like the image. I mean, again, it's we've never really seen. I'm curious to see how the eclipse ties into obviously what story they're trying to tell. And clearly, I think with the last image, whoever gets out of that pool of mud or whatever is tied to that. But no, it's cool to see because I don't think we ever seen really like an eclipse in Star Wars. I mean, I know that's nothing unusual in real life, but I mean, it's special. But I mean, like we've seen them always in movies, cartoons, whatever. But in Star Wars, I want to see how they're going to use that. Maybe it's something different or significant in that type in that particular universe.
Yeah, because then, this next image here, and we see that this is another one that repeats. Again, significance. It's another one that repeats. It's just the eye
Mhm.
with the eclipse through the person's eye. So, yeah, exactly. What has happened? Is there a certain power that's tied to an eclipse? Is that also tied to the person being summoned out of the water at the end of this
Right.
trailer? It's just very
I mean,
fascinating.
I honestly, I think what this is, I'm just going to be honest and simple about it. I think it's just showing some regular person or maybe someone important just seeing it. And from there, we're getting a view of this is really important that he or she really is like paying attention to this. Like
Hmm.
we can't miss this as a fan or as a person playing this game when we see this particular eclipse. So something is significant about it. I think just trying to show that symbolism of it.
Hmm. This next image here is when I knew it was Star Wars because up until this point I was like, is this Star Wars with the person with the drum with the eclipse? Up until that point, yeah, you had no idea what franchise it was. And then I see it and
Right,
it said Lucasfilm Games. I'm like, well, they could still be some other game. They're making an Indiana
Right.
Jones game. I don't know what it is because at that point I was watching a live stream, so it's not like I clicked on a video that said Star Wars Eclipse. I was just watching a live stream and it popped up. And then I seen the ship and I said, "Oh, that's Star Wars as it gets right there." Just looking at the thrusters on the back of the ship, just the way it pans across the landscape, seeing the beautiful asteroids, seeing the
Mhm.
different planet spears, but seeing this thing like obviously in a very severe condition with wreckage, falling off of it, just like preparing for a crash landing here.
No, I love this image. I mean, I love how I guess the moon or the sun's reflecting that light, or whatever bright light that is. I love it. It's a great image. I've always liked the space looks of Star Wars, and again, if we can get these all day every day, I'd be happy. But I love this look.
What about you, Ben? What
oh
do you
yeah,
think about this?
yeah, I completely agree with you. Like that's the moment you're watching a Star Wars game unfold, like or Star Wars property in general. So like that was pretty much my reaction too. Was like, hey, we're this feels like Star Wars.
Mhm.
This shot here, I know it's definitely Star Wars, and this popped in my head during my reaction. I said, this could be Onderon. And yeah, I mean, it's either that or it's going to be Jeddah. The reason why I don't know if it's Jeddah anymore is because there's water there. I don't know if that's a pool, but I'm pretty sure Jeddah is like an arid wasteland. So I'm not sure
Mm.
if that could be Jeddah. But then we have another image coming up that it has like those pilgrim people that we see on Jeddah in Rogue One. So
Mhm.
I mean, just looking at this landscape is absolutely beautiful. It looks live action. The lighting, the ships, the shadows, it just looks like it's a photograph from real life, essentially. It's just unbelievable. You see somebody standing in the foreground, so it looks like some kind of guard, and I think we see a few of them later on in the trailer, but like I'm getting a little bit of Naboo vibe here. Not that it is Naboo, but it's like a cross between Naboo and Jeddah and Onderon, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, this might just be a brand new planet. Honestly, I think it is. I like that little center circle piece, or I guess that little like well, what would you call that? That little like I guess center of the town or the city. I love that like little water thing in front of it. I like this look. Again, and this is where I'm gonna be slightly negative here. We need a lot more of this in the newer movies because this is world building. You
Mm-hmm.
know, this is different, and we every Star Wars fan, hell, every fan of any property you like in the general, you want something new and fresh, but also something that feels very similar. So again, this is very similar to us because it feels like Star Wars, but this looks very much new, and it's definitely creating world building. So I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, Milton. Like, I think that was some of the biggest issues with people when it comes to a lot of the current things that have happened over the last few years.
Mm.
Was just the world building and building out of worlds, whether it be in the movies. I mean, pretty much everything other than on screen has really
Right.
built the worlds really well. I mean, Jedi Fallen Order did a really good job at it.
Yep.
Like, of course, the comics, the books, all the ancillary materials, they all do a really good job on it. So hopefully, the on-screen side continues to take hints from it. And then in terms of this shot, like I think I could agree with you, Milton. Like, I think it's going to be probably a new planet, but then again, to flip that around, I mean, then again, it might be Jeddah, Chris. I mean,
Yeah.
sure, it's an arid wasteland, but wasn't like thousands of years ago, like the Sahara Desert, like had forests or something, or like, was it always a
It
desert?
wasn't
So like,
that long ago though, because this is only gonna be at max like 200, 100 years before the Phantom Menace. That's why I wouldn't
Right.
say
oh, okay,
that
okay,
exactly.
actually, yeah, never mind. Scrap my whole like evolution of the Star Wars universe idea. Yeah, never mind. Scrap that. Yeah, this is a brand new planet then.
Okay.
Um, but yeah,
Now we get a closer look at kind of the passerbys and the kind of aliens and characters we could expect. What's your first analysis of this one, Ben?
I mean, it just looks interesting. I mean, new characters. Like my thing with Star Wars is I always feel like we don't get enough aliens. I really feel that way because, like, sure, it's hard to have like a movie or a show like with an alien be like a forefront, focused type of character. Like the only exception we really have had was Grogu and maybe a little bit of Chewbacca, I guess, but he's more of a side character at that. So I think it's cool that we're going to be potentially getting more, and I think there's a chance, like, if this game is like a story based game, like an interactive one, like you could potentially like design your character. You could be an alien, a human, a whatever, and I think there's a potential for that possibility as well. So yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, I see this in front and center. I think of Shriv Surgav from Battlefront 2. Such a
Yep.
memorable character and an example of, hey, we need more like lead character alien characters, right? Like, especially ones like that. Now, something that stands out to me upon further look at this is off on the left there. And this is why it helps everybody to watch us on YouTube, especially for these breakdown videos, because you're gonna get a lot more out of it than listening here. At least I think you will. It looks like we might have an undercover Mon Calamari Jedi on the left there, don't you think? Like I see the Jedi robes on this Mon Calamari that has an overcoat. Like that'd be
Oh yeah, I
cool.
do see that now. Yeah,
That would
that.
be really cool because we haven't seen one in live action, to my knowledge. I mean, we've seen them in Clone Wars that got killed by Savage
Right.
Opress, but we haven't seen a live action Mon Cala. Well, I'm saying live action, and that's the power of how good this video game looks, right? This isn't even live action, and I'm saying, oh, it's a live action Mon Cala. Like you can't get more praise from something if I'm calling it live action here.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be really interesting if they do. Yeah, I now that you point that out, I think that probably is a undercover Jedi possibly.
He's a little too chunky to be a Jedi, in my opinion. Just saying.
True.
Nah, I mean, look,
Uh,
I don't really. I see where you're coming from with it, but honestly, I think it's just like some rando guy. I think that's just the clothing. I mean, honestly, some rando Mon Calamari just chilling with his boys, just doing a little shopping. But I do like this particular character. Hopefully, this is the main character, whoever this person is, because I like the look. I like he has the eye patch. I
Hmm.
mean, it reminds me so much of our favorite bounty hunter. Oh my God,
Cad Bane.
um, Cad Bane.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just like
and
I was like, all right. I mean, because that's his species, right?
yeah, Duros.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, like that's dope.
The thing is, right, like this could be one of our scoundrel rogue characters of this
Yeah.
era of the galaxy because, as we'll see later on, there's plenty of shots of Jedi. So we also have to have the thieves and the people that run the underworld and stuff like that to be legit Star Wars. Not legit, but you like to feel more like Star Wars, right? You always got to
Right.
have
Right.
somebody like
Right.
a Han Solo or a Lando Calrissian. So this could be our guy, right there. Moving on to the next shot here. We have something that's also essential to Star Wars, I believe, and that is the creatures of the galaxies. And even in the previous image, I forgot to point this out. There was these really cool, like little monkey, three-eyed creatures that the guy was like had in this crate that he was walking by. That was cool, but just the cinematography in this shot is unbelievable because as this thing plays out, there's a speeder that goes across the water. There's like a little bit of like a moon in the background plus the sun, and there's this new Star Wars lamb creature there in the forefront. It just looks beautiful. Like you could put this thing on the wall. It just looks incredible.
That well, this is a poster shot. I mean, honestly, it's a poster shot. Again, it's a dope shot. I mean, with those three pillars,
Hmm.
could they mean anything? I don't know, but this makes you pay attention to it. Obviously the eclipse is there for a reason. So, yeah, I love this look. I just love the colors. Yeah, you're right. The cinematography is like off the wall.
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, that's a really good way to describe it, Milton. That's definitely a poster shot. Like
Mm.
that's something you market with, and yeah, I mean, it looks really cool. Like you said, having the eclipse involved, like that's going to be a significant thing. I mean, who knows? Maybe we get a storyline where that's like the imperative overarching thing. Like, sure, the game may not have like a time limit on it, but maybe like there's like a kind of clock ticking down throughout the game, like of the eclipse, like getting ready to happen, and something's going to happen when it does. Like maybe we're going to get something like that in the game, where the eclipse is like that significant,
Oh
it'll actually play an
no.
impact.
Don't
Right.
Like
tell me they're going to
like
be making The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, which is one of my least favorite games of all time.
Oh, I hate
I
that game.
I literally returned that damn game at 7 years old because I just had enough of it, and I said I gotta get my money back, Mom. So she drove me
Okay.
back. She drove me through Trenton to go to this place to return the game at Trade a Tape, and I probably got like $5 for the $60 game, but I was so bad.
Okay, I know this is a Star Wars podcast, but I'm gonna get on that for a second, just because it's so funny you bring that up. My brother Chris, who listens to us most of the time, he loves Majora's Mask. Like, I think he's the only one that's actually beaten it because I can't play it. I'm like, I don't
Nope.
like it. Like I don't understand it. I love the first one, but I can't do that Majora's Mask one. It's trash in my opinion. But yeah, Star Wars.
Oh man, and this shot here, this is our only recognizable character other than the species themselves, is none other than Grand Master Yoda. On the Jedi Temple grounds we've seen in many, many movies, and
Mm.
he's over there looking at Coruscant. And I'm trying to look to see if Coruscant looks any different, but maybe it's not
Nope.
built up as high as we see it in the other movies. I don't know, but it was pretty cool because
I just think it's just how the shot is, Chris.
yeah,
Honestly, I mean, I think Coruscant's Coruscant. I mean, ain't nothing changing. They'll throw
yeah,
maybe a couple new buildings. You know, obviously between those 200 years between that and the prequels, but I love this shot. Again, this is another poster shot. If you're trying to sell the game, you need to put a character in there that we will at least be
yeah.
recognizable and clearly. Unless that's Yoda's cousin, that's Yoda.
Yeah, because
You
it's
know what I'm
gonna
saying?
keep
Like,
it grounded. This is what keeps it
yeah,
grounded. Be like, okay, we know this is not like 300 years in the future. We know this is not 5,000 years in the past because Yoda's 900 years old. We know it's in the High Republic, so it's gonna be a couple hundred years before Phantom Menace. Okay, we know where this story takes place. Like that's the grounding anchor of the trailer right here.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
oh, go ahead, Milton.
No, you're good, Ben. I was just gonna say
Oh,
honestly, I was just gonna say like it's just a dope view shot. Like it sells me that we're in a very familiar place and he could be a part of this.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you guys. I think I do feel though that having Yoda involved, if let's say the story is kind of how we're guessing, maybe like the whole choose your path type deal, I think there's a chance that Yoda will probably end up being like your guide type person. Like you check back in with him here and there throughout the game, maybe. Like it, I feel like he's not going to be like a central character, but he'll be more of like your mentor, I guess you would say.
Right.
Oh yeah, but it's just really a cool concept shot. Seeing the shadows is pretty neat in that shot. And just like where is everybody, right? Like we're used to having what is it, 12 members on the seats of the Jedi Council. It's just Yoda's just out there looking alone, like uh-oh, like something bad must be happening. He's contemplating his thoughts. What's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, depending on the potential timeline of exactly when this comes out, I mean, some of the other council members could potentially be thrown in there as an Easter egg, like some of the alien council members. They could potentially be younglings in this game. Like if this is only like 50 or 60 or 70 years before Phantom Menace, like there's potential for that.
Oh yeah, we already have a couple confirmed characters from the High Republic that would, and I figured the books are probably going to predate this. By the way, I feel like these
Yep.
are going to come after the books. You got Yariel Poof, you got Yaddle, you got the character of Rancisis Opus, you got the character that is like the weird llama-looking guy from the Clone Wars with the cane.
Yep.
I forget what his name is. So you do have quite a few, but like, hey, there's room for maybe Plo Koon sitting there 100 years later or something
Yeah.
after the books or something. I don't know. Moving on. This is what I was kind of talking about before. These are literally the same character designs from Rogue One, I'm pretty sure. These just like traveling pilgrims or priests or whatever they are. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh yeah, that's. I mean, it's cool they're taking similar character designs and like spreading them out throughout like live action and then the games as well because that adds a level of familiarity. Like people, like we want, as you said earlier, Milton, like we want new, refreshing, etc. But we also want a little bit of familiar. So just throwing in a little bit of similar character designs,
Right.
like that's a bonus.
Yeah. It's all you got to do. Sprinkle a little bit of new in there. You're good.
Yeah. And here we have a classic looking droid, almost similar to C-3PO, protocol droid of some sort. I just
Mm.
love the detail when he's like he turns around and you just see like every little part. You see even like if you look close enough, you can see like a fan like spinning on the inside of him. Like, damn, if like I keep going back to this and it's like I'm sounding like an old record, but man, this looks real.
Yeah. But again, it goes back to my argument about how it's very new, but also familiar to us. I mean, a lot of people remember 3PO and Phantom Menace. We all saw 3PO for the first time. We're like, oh, okay, we didn't. Honestly, I didn't even think he had an inside. We just always saw the gold parts of 3PO.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But seeing this was like, oh, this is cool. But then this particular droid looks more advanced than 3PO. I'll be honest with you. And I know this is supposed to be set in the past, but this robot, I'm like, oh, okay, he looks kind of BA. Like, I'm clear, what would he look like with a covering? You know, so I think these droids look kind of dope.
Because droids are foundational when it comes to Star Wars. Even like almost every one of the books or the comics I make, if there's ever companions, at least one of them's always a droid. So again, it's like we have all those foundations. We have Jedi, we have space battles, we have droids, we have creatures, we have huge cinematic views. All the boxes are being checked off here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, again, that's how it should be.
Oh yeah, I mean, echoing our last point about the people wearing similar clothing, like droids, protocol droids specifically, like those type of models, they're seamless for all mediums of Star Wars, whether it be the books, the comics, the games, the movies, the shows, just toys, anything. Like it just it's symbolic of the brand. I feel like it's just as important to Star Wars, like in terms of imagery, as lightsabers and Darth Vader and Yoda and Chewbacca. Like, droids are right there with those characters as being like iconic and, connected to the brand.
Right.
Alrighty, next one up here. This is our first shot of some Jedi. So this is neat because I think these Jedi are just sparring. I don't think they're actually like fighting each other to the death or anything, obviously, but again, like just another cool location. Reminds me of Naboo, like these very beautiful looking temples. It's very, very tall bridge that they're fighting on. It's a lot of fun. I don't know what else I could say about this one.
Love it. Again, I mean, look, you put a lightsaber in anything, I'm gonna like it for the most part. Just being honest.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, hey, lightsaber fighting, not a bad thing in Star Wars. Like that's a successful thing. I feel like that should be used a little more, but I think it's a really good thing, and I can't wait because it would be really cool actually too in this game to say if you're the main character and you're a Jedi, like if you have an actual temple thing you could go to maybe to level your character up, like go and spar with the Jedi Master to like get XP points or unlock things like stuff like that. Like that'd be like fun little things just built into the game to make it a little more interactive,
Yeah. But now this one here is very interesting for those eagle-eyed viewers out there. I mean, I didn't know this until somebody pointed out on Twitter. Don't know who, but good eye on you out there. But if you're looking closely, I think I sent this, but I didn't tell you what it was. Do either of you spot something very familiar in this photo here?
Yeah, it's one of the ships from Naboo.
Yep. So we have an N1 Naboo starfighter, and do you see that, Ben?
Oh yeah, now I see it. I didn't even see it. Yeah, now I see it. Okay. Oh wow, yeah.
The thing doesn't look like it really has been changed much since the Phantom Menace, right? I mean, I can't
let's be real here, man. Look, there are 1965 Buicks still going around in this era. So like, it's a classic, I guess, right? When coming to the prequel, so this was very probably new at the time. 20 years later, we're still gonna keep the classic ships, whatever. I don't know. I'm just being weird about it, but maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
I mean that could this video game could actually enhance the Phantom Menace even more because
maybe
you could be like, oh, like these people had literally nothing else to use against the Trade Federation except these like 200-year-old ships, and it's like the Force was with them because they were able to use these like 100 to 200-year-old ships. That's all they had, and that's all they were able to use, and they successfully like toppled the Trade Federation. Like it could actually enhance the story there. But I mean, just looking at this without even looking at that, just looking at this, it kind of reminds me of like the original trilogy a little bit, or some other concepts where it's like, hey, look, like this is just like a ramshackled looking location with just, it's not all shiny, it's not all new, it's just like maybe it's like a smuggler's hideout or something. That kind of reminds me of just like the cool blue skies and the water there looks excellent. What about you, Ben? What do you think about this one?
and it's just cool seeing it. Like, but like you said, it can enhance the Phantom Menace. Just the shot overall, I think is really cool. And again, it's more familiar imagery. It's directly a familiar vehicle we know. So, it's going to make things a lot of fun because, we have this, we have Yoda, like different connections like that. It keeps enough nostalgia, I guess you would say, but then also is adding in so much more new. It's going to make it, such a unique and memorable experience, I would say, because you're sprinkling in the nostalgia properly versus like forcing it in.
Mm-hmm. So in this one here, this is again, this kind of gives me proof of, okay, they must have been working on this game for a very long time. I know they say it's early concept, but I'm looking at every single thing in this trailer evokes, like Milton was saying, like an actual movie, like a cinematic, because all the designs, it's not like this is just reused assets from the sequels or the prequels or the original trilogy. Like they went out of their way to get concept artists to develop, like 99% of this stuff is brand new. So they must have been working on this game for at least a year to 2 years at this point to come up with all these ideas and then to actually animate them the way it is. This is what also blows my mind is like we had no word of this thing coming out, like any trailer. Like we're always like looking at the internet like, hey, like we're gonna get this Book of Boba Fett trailer, and it just never happens, and they give us like a 1 minute trailer, and it's just like it's okay, it's not amazing, it's just it's Boba Fett in a couple shots, and then we get this thing out of the blue where it's like it's like a Force Awakens trailer basically for me. It's like it's all brand new stuff, or like the Phantom Menace trailer, it's just all brand new stuff, and it's just almost 3 minutes long, which is insane. And it's just something like this, like they went through and they made these new ships, these brand new ships, just for this damn game. So that just is really cool how they just pulled this all together for a freaking video game. Not a movie, just a video game.
This is why we need to get a movie like this. Like honestly, like just give us a cinematic animation movie with like because clearly they can do it like with the trailers. Give us a 2 hour movie. I think it would hold up. Because like I think the technology's there because this looks real, like real, like it looks like, oh, I'm actually filming this, like so, like come on, man, give us a movie. But I love this shot.
Yep, I'm actually already making connections to certain things I'm seeing in this image for the first time just this second. There is an image on that building. It's like it's hard to explain. It's like I wish I had a marker. I could just like mark it on my end on OBS, and you guys can all see. I'll get better with the technology as we do more of these things in the future. But there is a like a kind of cross symbol on some part of that building. Now that comes back because I believe that's also on the armor of those armies of soldiers that we see later on, which we'll talk about. So and these guys aren't attacking this thing, so I'm guessing they're part of this structure here. So and I see these things later on in the trailer. So here we go. We're making connections, I think. Whatever. But what do you have to say about this one, Ben? This mysterious shot here, like another biome. Is this snow? Would you say? What's going on in here?
I mean, it could be snow. I feel like, just thinking about it in terms of like the whole eclipse thing, I feel like it probably would end up being snow just because, think about how cool like an eclipse, like all that stuff would look cinematically in a game like this. Like I think the visuals for it would be really, really neat. So it probably is snow. And just the shot, it's another really cool shot in the trailer. And it's just, yeah, I mean, it just really sets the tone more, sets the tone really more for things. And then, like you said, Chris, like with the symbol, like that, like you said, we'll see that later in the trailer. So I'm sure there's connections, like that could be an organization you run into or a group, et cetera, et cetera. Like, so I think it'll connect. Like that was, of course, intentionally there.
Yeah, now you got me thinking, Ben, about the Eclipse again, and I think this video game, man, I keep struggling with that. I keep saying show or movie because I'm like, this looks so good, but maybe it's set in a single star system where there's an eclipse in the star system, which kind of leads like all there's like multiple, let's say there's 5 or 6 different planets. Like we've seen this is like a snow planet, then like a water planet, then that other planet. They're all visible to this eclipse, and these different characters. It's kind of like the eclipse is kind of a catalyst for what might happen. Is the eclipse happen? People different perspectives see this eclipse, and it sparks a war and all this stuff in this outer rim region of space. I think that's probably, especially if you're gonna have multiple characters, the High Republic is so set with having tons of different perspective of characters. So it would be pretty likely that that could happen. Here we go. Another character that is not exactly familiar, but the species is. We got ourselves a good old Nemoidian. I know a lot of my buddies there on Facebook are screaming from the rooftops that they're getting more Nemoidian content out there. But look at that guy's mug, man.
Yeah, that's very impressive artwork, honestly. Like that looks legit. Like that's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's honestly what I can say. Like I'm not. I mean, it ties in, I guess, to an image later, but it's like, yeah, that's very impressive. Like it looks very much real. So
yeah, I agree with you. I think it looks really great. Can't lie. Anytime I see Nemoidians, hey, shout out to our Revenge of the Sith commentary. Anytime I see Nemoidians, like I just always think of Anakin going in there, just taking them all out.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
like that's literally what I associate Nemoidians with. Like I know that sounds bad, but it's what I associate them with.
What?
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's cool seeing another familiar alien.
What? I mean, what happens if this guy ends up being like the tough version of a Nemoidian? Like, what happens if he actually has a spine on like Newt Gunray? Like, he's actually like this vicious war leader.
Or what if he's Newt Gunray's like grandfather?
You see a baby Newt Gunray in this game somewhere. I don't know the lifespan of a Nemoidian, but I'm sure they probably live longer than humans. Oh man, and this thing is like the money shot to me. This shot here of just these 2 lightsabers, one yellow. It's got the curved handle like Count Dooku, and you got the one with the blue hilt, the nice shiny hilt. That's the thing that the High Republic has done really well, is just make really cool lightsaber hilt designs that are very striking. But I mean, obviously we're not supposed to figure out what the heck these characters are in the foreground, but this is where it starts to lead into, oh, this game could be kind of large scale. I mean, we see what could be dozens of whatever these things are coming after them, and it's like, okay, you got these 2 Jedi teaming up, right? The High Republic at this it's the golden age of the Jedi. It's not just like 1 or 2 lonely Jedis. You're gonna have teams of Jedi fighting against things, and that's one thing I hope to see from this for sure.
right. No, this is a really good shot. I mean, those creatures seem to be vicious. I mean, obviously we don't know what they are. We don't know what they look like really, but this shot seemed like it's very promising, and there's a legit threat that's going to have to be dealt with.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean that's pretty much what I felt as well. Like it seems like there's definitely something to be dealt with, or a legit threat to be dealt with, since you have 2 lightsabers out. Like, I mean, why else would you have them out? So
Yeah.
like I think that's what it is really. And I feel like that could be potentially early on in the game, like establishing the threat, whatever the overarching threat is, possibly.
Right.
And then we lead on throughout the game. But I think that could be early on, actually.
Right, because and you mentioned something good, like especially with the High Republic, like these Jedi are very much like keepers of the peace and defenders of justice and all in the galaxy. Like they don't take out their sabers unless there's a threat. Like they're just not willy-nilly going around like, oh, you called me a name, I'm pulling out a lightsaber. Like it has to become bad. Like their lives or innocent people's lives are at risk where these sabers have to come out. So it's
Right.
gonna get hot and heavy in there for whatever heck is happening. This is pretty cool. This image here of this I believe just a human character. This is just, again, I don't know what engine they're using this, and I don't know if this is Unreal Engine 5, which is like the latest and greatest game engine out. That's gonna have to be used only on next gen consoles. But man, oh man, this reminded me of like Bastila Shan or something from like the old, or Satil Shan from the old Republic trailers there.
Yeah, I can see that. No, I mean, again, they don't show this there's no reason why they would show this character unless she plays a pivotal role. So I'm curious to see again who these characters are, and that's
I
what we don't know.
I believe,
I
yeah.
mean, Chris, you might know because you read the books, but I mean, yeah, this character must be important. I love the look of her. She seems like she's like a high priestess type, maybe, but maybe some like royalty. But no, even the
Yeah.
background's pretty dope because she's leaving something that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I think this is one of the characters I was dueling on that bridge. There, you could pause that at the right spot. You could see a character with dark hair with a similar kind of clothing. So I'm guessing
Mhm.
that's her, and that would make her obviously a Jedi. Um, I don't think I think they purposely didn't show us any images or anything of the characters that I'm familiar with from the High Republic. If I were to guess, I would say that, and I know nothing about the Acolyte, but I feel like this game's going to take place like maybe 100 years after the books that are currently coming out, and maybe like 50 years before that show. Like by the time this game comes out, maybe it'll come out like alongside the Acolyte. You know what I mean? We assume the Acolyte's probably going to get like more than one season, so there's a chance that this game could come out like while that show is airing, and maybe the show and this could tie in somehow, since that's like towards the end of the High Republic. People were saying somehow.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I think there's I mean, that was my first thought, and I talked about that with one of my good friends just yesterday. I think this game is going to come out right alongside the Acolyte. Like to me, it just makes sense. It's the High Republic, the Acolyte's that similar era. Like I think it just all falls in line. And I mean, here's a wild thing. What if in this game we get like a plot twist type thing, like with the Acolyte and then this Eclipse game? Like, what if all this stuff is just kind of slowly building up Darth Plagueis's like background because we don't know anything about
Hmm.
him technically. So, like, other than
Hmm.
what the Emperor said, like, what if all of this stuff we get to the end of this game and it's like, boom, big plot twist, Darth Plagueis, like
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
pardon me.
yeah, I was gonna say, oh yeah, that was what I was gonna say for the last image that we'll talk about here.
Oh, yep. Okay, okay. We'll get to that later. But yeah, for that image with a woman, yeah, I think, as you said, Milton, like anytime they focus on these characters in the trailer, like they're either going to be with you, like as your main crew, or they're going to be like your guide points, like your check-ins, like the characters you run into on your quest.
Right.
Yeah. So this is the image I was talking about before. That is definitely the same image that was on that building. So this is what's frightening. So it looks like this is a new faction in Star Wars. Plain and simple. It looks like this is like this era's new empire, because I'm gonna have to pull up the trailer real quick and kind of watch this again, because I think I'm noticing something else that I can't just see from this image here. But I mean, this is like all about totalitarian. Like even the image, like these are the bad guys right away. You know these are the new bad guys, the new Empire, the new Nile, the new First Order. I think it's interesting we don't see any Nile here, which are the big villains from the High Republic, and why I think it takes place after all that. But just what are your initial thoughts on the design, guys, of these characters?
It looks like honestly, it looks like oh my goodness, it looks like one of the Inquisitors, like just what with a gun. That like just like what's the big Inquisitor, Ninth Brother or something? What's the big guy from Rebels?
Oh
Um,
yeah, the what is it? The fifth brother.
The
yeah,
fifth brother.
he kind of looks like him, but obviously like a little bit taller. I don't know. I like the look. It just reminds me of an Inquisitor look. It's dope though. I again, these guys seem serious. They're for real. Again, it's like a new empire, new faction. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. Gosh, that's the thing about breaking down a trailer. We have so many similar thoughts on Star Wars. We're like answering for each other. But like, I think, yeah, it's just this is the bad guys. Like, this is probably your enemies throughout the game. Heck, you could potentially join them if, depending on how the game's constructed. Like, you could potentially go down that path. So, yeah, I think it's the bad guys, and it's just going to be interesting to see how they, basically, what is the purpose of all of this? Like, we'll get into that, as we said, when you get further into these images. But like the overall purpose for the bad guys, for your main characters, like why are they the bad guys? Like, why do you have to defeat them? Like, so it's going to be cool just to see how that plays out.
Yeah,
Right.
so I flipped to this next image here, and this is I said it was the money shot before with the lightsabers, but I think this is the actual money shot
I was about to
because
say, yeah, this is
the
it.
seeing this thing was like, oh, we are right before the Phantom Menace. I mean, this is a Lucre Hawk cruiser. I mean, there's obviously like differences with like those like little blocky things coming out from the circle part of the ship, but I don't even know how to explain. But and here's where I just had to watch that little clip again. Those are the ships of those guys we just seen that are bombing the Trade Federation ship. That's definitely them. They're bombing the ship. So it's like you have two enemy. I mean, I assume those guys are bad guys. Trade Federation are bad guys. So we're gonna have these two bad guy factions going at it.
Well, here's the thing. Though. Here's the thing. Do we know they're bad? Do we know the Trade Federation was bad? Like at this time, I mean, maybe this is where they changed their philosophy on what they do, which led to them acting the way they did in the Phantom Menace.
Oh,
Like that. Like that. That's
crap.
my thought. Because when I saw this, I'm thinking, oh, Trade Federation. I'm like, oh, they're actually that. They must be important enough to be involved with something going on in this part of Star Wars, like in this time period. So I'm like, okay, maybe they're the good guys. Again, they're the Trade Federation, so they're all about business, expanding their brand, whatnot. Maybe something happens in this game where they flip their business model and they start doing stupid shit at this point, because of what
Yeah.
happened to them, moving forward.
Like-
Again, that's the thought I got.
Again, this is why the Star Wars canon, whether or not some stuff works, if they could actually make this game work to actually enhance the Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
imagine if it actually makes the Phantom Menace that much better to digest, like
That's
the
what I'm
whole
saying.
opening?
Yeah, like why are we showing the Trade Federation? They're there for a reason. Like something happened to them to cause them either they're bad guys already, or they're actually solid people in society. But then something happens where like, man, forget being good. We're gonna start pillaging planets, blockading everything, blah blah blah. I mean, hell, they got caught up with Sidious. So something had to happen where they say, you know what, we something happened to us so much where we're gonna start getting in bed with Sith Lords. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, so again, like I hope they tell that story, maybe to show like the seeds of it and why the Trade Federation might have went bad or something happened. So they're in this trailer for a reason.
Yeah,
Man, that was a
I
pretty good
completely-
theory, man. What do you have to say about what Milton just said there?
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you, Milton, on the points. That's a really good idea and good point. Like maybe this is like the turning point for the Trade Federation, like going from good to bad, because we watch a lot of the Star Wars stuff and a lot of it's black and white. Here's the good guys, here's the bad guys.
Right.
Go with it. So like it'll be cool. It'd be cool to see him kind of flipped on its head. Like that's even, like in Rogue One, Cassian, like his family was separatist. Like
Yeah.
that's like a big whoa moment. Like you didn't see that coming.
Right.
So those type of things are interesting to see, and I really can't wait to see how it plays out in this game specifically for the Trade Federation. And then, as I was saying earlier, a few images ago, like I think there's a really good chance, like in canon, we don't know anything about Darth Plagueis other than what was said in Revenge of the Sith, basically. So I think there's a chance they'll use the Eclipse or the Star Wars The Eclipse game to set up basically, it depends on if this game comes out before or after the Acolyte, because this game could be the catalyst for the Acolyte show. Like this could be your lead in to the Acolyte show, and then maybe the Acolyte show leads down the lines of eventually we get to the very end and it's like boom, Darth Plagueis. Like maybe we're gonna get a big plot twist type deal and we go from there, because and that's another thing, just to be real, like if we get a show like the Acolyte, I mean a game's different because it's a game, so maybe there's more creative liberties, or maybe they don't have the green light to go with Darth Plagueis. But like with the Acolyte, or in this era, like if we keep skipping over Darth Plagueis, it's like, wait, what are we doing here, guys? Like Darth Plagueis is a central character, and if these things are taking place 50 or 100 years before Phantom Menace, like he has to be roaming around somewhere. Like he has to be, because he would have been potentially starting up this whole planning process of like finding an apprentice, which would turn out to be Palpatine. Like he would have been younger right now, but we don't even know his species technically. So I think a lot of these, like the High Republic, like ending, like the Eclipse maybe, I keep going back to it because like maybe this whole darkness thing is like the anti Force Awakens thing. Like maybe the Eclipse is like basically awakening the darkness.
The cloud that Yoda talks about, right? That's what I'm thinking too. Like the Eclipse signifies like
he calls
the
it
shroud.
The shroud.
Yes.
Shroud of the dark side.
Yep. Yeah.
So, I'm curious what I'm curious what the chat thinks about like that theory of with the Trade Federation, because again, you don't put them in here like everyone knows who they are. And like when I say everyone, us as fans of this property. So you don't put the Trade Federation in this trailer without them. They have to be important in some way, shape, or form. And again, they could already be bad, but maybe their story changes. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Next shot here, you have. I highlighted this shot because I didn't notice it the first couple times I watched the trailer, but those like 4-wing drop ships. You'll see one in the upper left there.
Yeah.
That's
again,
pretty cool.
This is very much familiar, man. I love this shot because again, we've seen these in the movie, in the Phantom Menace.
And I wonder, like, do they have droids? I mean, I guess they have droids at this point. I want to see the proto battle droids in here. Right.
Do we know? Maybe this is where things change for them. Maybe the Trade Federation is legit just all about like business. Let's say I'm just throwing it out there, like agriculture or whatever. And something happens where they're like, you know what, we got to defend ourselves, blah, blah, blah. So let's adapt this droid model. You know what I'm saying? Again, I don't know, but something happens to these people. And it's cool to see that. I love this shot, because something's about to go down.
Yeah. And then the next shot here, it's like, look at all these things. I mean, I wonder if they are trying to blockade a planet already, the Trade Federation, because it looks just as many ships they had at Naboo there when they first started. And then you have, and I looked again to make sure I was right about this, these different ships that look like a tuning fork. They're basically the two-pronged cruisers there. That is definitely one of those bad guy shots, or I assume they're bad guys. It's like in the background as they're like preparing for war. So like that is interesting. And then you have these other ships right down there in front. I know it's not easy to see because they were moving super fast, but they almost look like kind of like Jedi starfighters.
Oh, yeah, no, I totally see that.
So what happens if the Jedi are actually working with the Trade Federation, because these Jedi starfighter things are actually attacking those tuning fork ships?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a possibility, and it would be really cool. Again, throwing similar imagery we know, like to potentially pilot a Jedi starfighter in this game. Like, I think that's a cool possibility. And it's just going to be, I think there's a lot of potential narratives that we don't, or that I guess will be turned on their heads potentially. Like you said, the Trade Federation stuff, potentially Darth Plagueis, Yoda obviously being involved in all this. Like, I mean, who knows? For all we know, Darth Plagueis could be like a fallen Jedi, like the fallen angel from like God, the Bible and that whole thing. Like maybe we get something along those lines, like Plagueis turning evil. Like so like I don't know. It's going to be interesting just to see the way all of this plays out, because I think this game is going to have some significance to it. I really do. Like in the greater scope of things, connecting to the High Republic game itself, or the movie, or the show itself. So like I think that's the direction we're headed.
We got 2 more shots to talk about and look at here, and this one is a brand new alien in Star Wars. Of course, it wouldn't be anything new, any kind of new property in Star Wars without introducing new aliens. And this was brought up to my buddy Ward Lafferty, friend of the show, and he claims, hey, these tattoos this alien has kind of reminiscent of Sith tattoos. What do you guys say about that?
Yeah, I can see that, and then also maybe the ones that Anakin got in the animation.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, this is like a Prometheus character, dude.
This
Just
almost
saying.
looks like Voldemort. Now
That
that I'm
too.
looking
Thank you for saying that. Voldemort, because yeah, that's Voldemort's cousin. Let's be real here. He looks just
at
like him. Now
like
that because the nose and everything, like
yeah,
yeah,
the nose.
that's Voldemort's like distant cousin. You know what I mean? Because that's why Voldemort's so powerful because he got a little bit of Star Wars in him. But no, serious note, like I love this alien. I like this look a lot. And clearly, I think these aliens are going to be very important in this game, some way, shape, or form. You know, maybe these are the followers of that particular. I'm sure the next shot will show it of the person who's coming out of the water.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, I completely agree. Like I think, well, now I can't unsee the Voldemort thing.
Love it.
Like that's definitely Voldemort's cousin and/or Voldemort. Who knows? Harry Potter, Star Wars crossover. There we go. Um, yeah, forget Marvel and DC. Harry Potter and Star Wars. We'll have a story. But yeah, I mean, I think it could potentially be a follower, as you said, Milton, because I don't think they'll unveil the bad guy just like that in the trailer.
Right.
So I think it's probably just a follower, or maybe like an assistant, like kind of like Benet is for Darth Vader, something along those lines, most likely.
Yeah, let's give me a second to shout out the chat here. We got Aaron Daly. The scene is giving me some vibes that remind me of the alien species from Prometheus. So you guys are all on the same
Exactly.
brainwave.
Yep.
Dark Nerdy Gonzo. The Jedi aided the Trade Federation before in some legends and material. See the Stark hyperspace roll. So there you go. There's already a precedent
Yeah.
set for that happening.
See, and I like that. Who made that comment?
Dark Nerdy Gonzo, my buddy
See,
Matt.
and I like that he said that because that goes to show that maybe Star Wars Disney is paying attention to the legends and the good stuff that was good about legends. You know, like they're like they said early on, they're going to cherry pick the best from legends and put them in games, books, comics, movies. Again, Kathleen, don't say you don't have the material when it's clearly there. Like Dark Nerdy Gonzo just proved it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's there. And if it works, it works.
Oh man, and Chris Forsyth, I don't know this reference, so forgive me for not knowing it, but he was an extra in Diane Wood video. I don't know what that is. Diane Ward. So I don't know what that is.
Chris, you have to explain that a little bit more, man.
Moving on. We're gonna get to this last shot that I keep referencing because it's so mysterious and revealing at the same time. And yeah, you guys both mentioned, hey, could these characters be like a Vinay? I think so. I think these characters are like the Sith Eternal for like Emperor Palpatine.
Yes.
Like they are working behind the scenes to summon, and this guy looks human, right? Like the profile, at least from behind, he looks freaking human. Like his ears and everything, he's nothing like the aliens that are in the other shots. So what's the deal? Why is he in his black liquid? Is he a Sith Lord being resurrected? What's going on here? Because with the way they're chanting and the drums and all, it's like such a tribal, evil type of thing to do, like summoning something.
Maybe here's a couple thoughts I had. This could be maybe him healing or some way, shape, or form. Because we don't know what that material is that he's coming out of. Maybe he's just just cleansing himself. Because in the movie Dune, doesn't the bad guy get some type of water mist or something? Yeah, so like it kind of reminded me of that. Again, I just love how these things are taken from these movies that's already been made, or maybe I don't know, but Dune reminds me of Dune a lot. I love this particular look. Like this guy has to be no joke. This got to be our villain of the game. Has to be. There's no way this is the hero.
No, not with all that darkness. Just the ambiance, the background, the lighting.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh yeah, that definitely has to be the villain, I would say. Maybe here's one. Maybe this is like early. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. It could be already taken place by now, but maybe this is like the early Bacta, potentially.
Okay, so according to the High Republic, at this point, they have just found Bacta. So yeah, it could be a different variation of it. We also have Maximal 99. Okay, so that we find out what Die Ant Ward is. They are a South African rap rock band with some sweet ass bizarre music videos. Okay.
Oh,
Okay, that is a deep cut that 99.9% of us probably do not know right now.
right.
We got another viewer in here, Maximal 99334 is providing some insights. He's saying pretty sure the Trade Federation are good guys at this point. We can see
That's
a
right, yep.
droid drop ship in the background of the last screenshot from episode 1. Yep. Yeah. So like I think we're all on the same page. Like they are changing our thought process on the Trade Federation.
That's what I'm saying. It has to be. Again, you like there's no way you put them in there without having to change their story to what we've seen in the Phantom Menace. Like again, that's just that's good writing and storytelling if that's how they're going to play it, I think. Just to show how that change over and how it led into episode 1. You know, I like it. I think it's smart.
Oh yeah. So that was it. You know, it took us about an hour to break down this 3-minute video game trailer. So you know there was some good stuff in there if we took that much time to do that. So everybody watching the breakdown, thanks again for doing that. You could watch more videos on this channel here, youtube.com Starrapter. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel in order to see more videos related to Star Wars Eclipse. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Moving on. So getting into a quick little synopsis of the Book of Boba Fett trailers that we've been seeing. What are your guys' thoughts on that most recent one? We had one that was 1 minute long.
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple new shots on there, nothing mind-blowing. Where's your hype level for the Book of Boba Fett right now, based on these little teasers we begin?
I'll go first on this one. At this point, I'm just ready just to have the show here. Just because like I feel like they're wasting time with these trailers. Like they're going to get the viewership because they've made Mando season 1 and 2 really, really good. Like that's not a question. And honestly, after seeing Hawkeye the last 4 weeks, I am really looking forward to actually something really, really consistently good, like the Book of Boba Fett. I mean, not trying to throw shade at Hawkeye, but it ain't the best show right now. So, and I think they probably did that, not did on purpose. They don't tend to write something bad, but I think maybe how they placed these particular shows was very much strategic to say, hey, let's settle the masses down before the new Star Wars comes out for the holidays, which now Star Wars is very much a Christmas thing. So I'm ready for the show to be here. The main trailer did it for me. The last couple of them were like, all right, you know, we've seen a lot of this stuff. We're getting some tidbits, but just give me the show.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're very much playing it safe right now. And this is the difference between, let's say, a video game trailer that we just seen versus the amount of stuff that keeps getting recycled every single little TV spot that comes out. The only two new shots that were interesting were a single spaceship coming into Tatooine, which I looked at for way too long, way too many times to try to figure if there's anything resembling anything I know. Somebody told me like, oh, is that the Outrider? And I was like, wait, is it the Outrider? I was like, no, it's not the Outrider. It's not Dash Rendar's ship. But the whole thing with the swoop gang, that's what gives me shadows of the Empire vibes, where I'm like, ooh, is one of these guys Dash Rendar? And I'm like looking through with a magnifying glass. Of course, he's not going to be in a damn little TV spot. But hey, I can hope and I can dream. But other than that, you know, you see Boba Fett in a white jumpsuit. It's like, oh, that's something new. You see him looking down, and you know him and Fennec Shan looking through the grates of wherever the caged monster being could be down there, where Jabba's Rancor used to be. So there's a couple like little insightful things, but it's not anything that we could talk about for like an hour, like we just did with the Star Wars Eclipse trailer. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There isn't a lot to talk about. At the end of one of the trailers, you can hear a seismic charge go off, so that's pretty cool. Like that's neat that we're gonna be getting that. And then, you know, like you said, they're looking down into like the Rancor pit. So I think we're gonna get a Rancor. Like I feel like it's gonna happen because it's like the perfect time to do that. And then the only other main thing I took away, you know, as you said, Milton, let's just get to the trailer because, you know, anybody who enjoys Hawkeye, that's great. but I will throw shade at Hawkeye. I think the show is so bad. Like, I really do. It's such Attack of the Clones vibe where anytime you see Kate Bishop on screen, you're like, okay, this is Anakin and Padme in the meadow. And anytime Clint's on screen, you're like, okay, this is Obi-Wan. Like this, that's how I feel. Like whenever Clint's on screen, I'm locked in. Whenever Kate, it's like, okay, check my text, check my Twitter. Okay, Clint's back on screen. So like this, like Hawkeye's basically set me up to where I'm so excited for Book of Boba Fett to be next. I'm like, okay, let's just get this filler show out of the way. So like I am excited we're getting closer to it at least. And then the other big takeaway too from the trailers for me, and I sent it to you guys in the group chat and I tweeted about it as well, is I love the fact, it shows how aware Favreau and Filoni and who's the main guy for this show?
Tamora Morrison? Oh, no, Robert Rodriguez?
Robert Rodriguez. It shows how aware they are of the prior Star Wars properties because, I mean, look, even in Mando, they referenced the holiday special in the first episode of the first season. And then now the way Boba Fett says, for anybody who's wondering, when Boba Fett says, "I'm Boba Fett," like the way he says that is 1000% identical to the way Boba Fett gets introduced to Luke in the holiday special from back in like 79 or whatever.
Right.
So like, I love that those type of little Easter egg shout outs. And I saw plenty of other people like tweeting and posting about it too. Like, oh my gosh, they shouted out the holiday special again. So, I think it was really cool they did that. And yeah, I mean, those are like kind of my big takeaways, just some little Easter eggs here and there. And also, I feel like Boba's getting younger. I mean, he's taking some back to Baz. Like he's definitely looking a lot younger, I think, which is a good thing. So it's going to be interesting to see the direction they go with. And also, this could be like mega speculation department. But what if, other than like healing from the Sarlacc pit stuff, what if there's a potential Boba's using so much bacta? Because what if he's like slowly or aging quicker? Like the cloning process is like increasing.
If
like
that's the case, that's from Legends. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
that's
remember
from,
the books, Milton?
Yes, that's from the Legacy of the Force books, I think, or
that's the B storyline.
Is that the Legacy of the Force
Legacy
series?
of the Force because it takes place 30 years or 40 years after.
Because
when
Boba
Luke's like 60.
Yeah, because Boba has a kid in those books, and I think at one point he tried to like get her blood or her DNA to help him like stop from aging or something to that extent. But yeah, like that's actual factual like in Legends. So if they pull that, that's kind of dope.
I think
not the kid part, but like the him like dying because of the cloning process.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that could potentially be like if they do go that route. I mean, that could explain the bacta thing. Like, if the bacta thing becomes an interesting thing, who knows? We could get to the end of the Boba series, and that could be a potential, like, whoa, surprise moment for all of us. And hey, to connect into all the other outer Star Wars properties, we could have that happen, and then boom, that's how you connect in the Bad Batch to it.
Yeah, you can say, Omega's the sister. She found a way to stop her aging or something.
Yep. So maybe something along those lines. I don't know. That's just mega speculation, just to throw darts out there. But but yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for the show to get here, and I'm ready to be done watching Hawkeye.
Yeah, and just a heads up for all our viewers and listeners out there. Next week will be our Book of Boba Fett predictions video. So if you guys want to join the chat, heck, if you want to send us some tweets over to hashtag Outer Rim Transmission at any of our Twitter accounts or whatever, we'll be happy to bring those out and discuss your predictions, and it'll be a fun show. So we'll be doing that next week because the following week we're going to take a week off for Christmas, and we'll be back on the day of Book of Boba Fett to literally discuss it on that Wednesday to review that premiere episode. Just a few more stories because we are running out of time a little bit here, but I just want to make sure we at least mention these. We did get a new actor that was cast, or the first actor that we're hearing about allegedly cast. This is from Variety, a pretty good source for Hollywood news and whatnot. We have this maybe the lead character in the Acolyte, which, we were talking about a High Republic video game. The Acolyte's a High Republic Disney Plus streaming series. Amanda Stenberg is in talks to join as the lead character. So would that mean she's the Acolyte? Who knows? But apparently she's been in some things like the Hunger Games, I think, as most people know her for. I've never heard or have seen of her in this, but I think it's cool. Like, a female lead could be the Acolyte of the Sith, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's a cool opportunity, and I think, yeah. I mean, it's just an interesting casting. Like, I honestly didn't know who she was at first when I saw the news, so I had to look into the filmography, and it's like, hey, I mean, you've been in multiple pretty well-known projects, so like, to me, when it comes to actors, unless you're getting like I don't know, a Christian Bale or Natalie Portman, like someone of that caliber, to me, as long as you're like a good actor that can do your job, like, can you act? Are you good? Okay, cool. Like, so when it comes to those type of things, like, I'm fine with basically just the whole thing. If you're talented enough to do it, let's have at it, because we really don't know much about the Acolyte, if at all. So like, I mean, she could end up being just a side character for all we know, but it does sound like it's a potential lead role, which would be interesting. I mean, again, like I said, I think a lot of this stuff is going to connect to Darth Plagueis eventually, so maybe that'll be Darth Plagueis' first pupil, that could eventually lead to Palpatine. So like, I don't know, it's going to be interesting just to see how it connects, but I don't know, time will tell.
All right.
Yeah, I honestly, like I said, I really don't have much of thoughts on it. I
Yeah.
briefly looked at that one. We really don't know much about the show, so that's why I can't really get hype about casting yet.
Exactly. This is not even confirmed by Lucasfilm or anything. So
Yeah.
says she's in talks. Talks could fall through. So it's worth noting that, hey, this might not actually come true, but most of the time it does seem like it will. Another thing I wanted to listen, and I should have listed this before as we were already talking about a video game, but we did get an official Star Wars Hunters gameplay reveal. Remember, this is that mobile game. It's also going to be on Nintendo Switch. Apparently it's like out in early access in like some Asian countries. So there's actually like YouTube videos you can watch, like entire matches, people playing the game. It looks pretty interesting, but it also looks like a game that probably won't hold my attention for very long because it just doesn't have any story. But it looks like this could be like that Fortnite, like real quick kind of fun adventure type of game for people to play on the go. They have like tanks and healers and DPS, and the video showcase like every starting character, their role, their abilities. I think there's like 2 different game modes in the game, like one escort the platform and others just like command and control the zone. So pretty straightforward things that we've seen time and time again. I think there's an Endor, Tatooine, and a Hoth arena. So right now they're starting off with 3. And, we'll see how successful this game is. I could see like this game going on for a while. I could see it being like Galaxy of Heroes, where they add like a new playable character, like maybe 2 or 3 a year, something like that, to kind of fill in the different roles. But I would just like to see this thing ported to like the Xbox and the PlayStation and actually play it on a big screen, because like it looks like it could translate okay. Like the graphics are not as bad as I thought they could have been for a mobile game. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there since we're already talking about video games a lot tonight.
No interest. I saw that trailer. I was like, ugh, nope.
Yeah,
I'm out.
I just kind of got the vibes like it's cool and all, but it just isn't like. I just feel like, just to be completely honest, like I feel like it's a game that's gonna die out in like 6 months.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It stinks because to me it's like, take these resources, you're like Lucasfilm, like, however games are made, but like take these resources and make something that will stand the test of time. Like, you don't have to throw out a little app game every year or two. Like, just take the resources, be like, hey guys, we're taking 3 years to develop an app game or whatever, and make it something that would be interesting and stand the test of time. Like, have consistent content every month, or like have, you know, if you want to really invest into it, have content every week. Like, you know, just something just to keep building and building and building onto it. Because I mean, go to your app store, iTunes or Google, and how many apps are just dead basically because they just die out in a few months. And I think this is going to be another one of those games where it's like you know, people are like messing with it, and then it will be like, all right, what's next?
Yeah, I
What's
mean,
the next thing?
they do say there's basically microtransactions because they say, oh, you can customize the armor and different things. So, like, you
Yep.
know, people drop money on that. It's just how big is
Yeah.
the audience going to be for people to actually affect, like, the longevity
me,
of a game like this?
to me, I don't think it would probably be feasible for an app game. I just want a straight up Star Wars game where it's like, just create your character and go explore the Star Wars universe and bump into other users. Like, I don't know, just
Wait,
something.
they already have a game. It's called The Old Republic.
No, I know, but we need it on mobile, Xbox, and PlayStation and everything.
That's a good point.
We need that. Yeah, okay, take all these resources for these things and just make the Old Republic accessible on every platform.
So you basically want a Destiny for Star Wars, essentially.
Basically, yeah, that's basically what I want.
That wouldn't be too bad. Like that could work.
Yeah, like that's what I want in gaming. Like that's why I'm excited about the open world Star Wars game that's coming in a few
I think
years.
that's going to be the game that you're mentioning will end up that way.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the game I'm mainly going to be playing a lot when it comes out. And of course, like the Lego games and stuff. But yeah, this type of stuff, it just, as Milton said, it's like, pass, no interest.
Yeah, it kind of to end the show, and I think it's worth putting out now because there was a dark time. There's been a very dark time, as Milton has said, with the Star Wars games, right? Like at one point, there's been, you know, that the books are firing on all cylinders with the High Republic. I think it's like the movies, at least they've been coming out pretty regularly. The TV shows are on fire. And it's like the video games have always been kind of held back a little bit. Like it's just not been as much as we would expect with like how LucasArts used to be. And I put this out on Twitter earlier tonight about literally everything that's in development right now. So to kind of read through my list, it's like obviously you have Eclipse from Quantic Dream, you have KOTOR Remake from Asper, you have Lego Star Wars from TT Games, you have Fallen, whatever is going to be in the Fallen Order franchise. I'm assuming because a sequel that's going to be from Respawn. And whatever this open world game from Massive, that's 5 Star Wars AAA games in development that have, you know, the potential to be some of the greatest Star Wars games ever made. And we're sitting on basically 5 of them right now. I mean, we have Lego Star Wars coming out next year, but maybe KOTOR will be ready the year after. And maybe there's a potential where we'll get like 2 of these games in 1 year. I mean, it's probably going to happen. I mean, there's 5 games and there's probably even more games that haven't even been announced yet. Obviously, like these things take so long to work on. But I think we're finally getting to that point, as long as the quality's there, that this is what people have been wanting, to have like a nice slate of games that they can look forward to. And all these have differences. Like one's super narrative, one is an RPG, one is a Lego game, one is just an action adventure hack and slash kind of thing. One is going to be maybe like the Red Dead Redemption of the Star Wars galaxy. Like, so you have a large variety. You already had a space simulator game. You already had like a shooting game with Battlefront. So like they're checking off a lot of the boxes here, and I'm remaining optimistic now. You know, having laid it all out like that, I'm like, okay, they're actually trying to get themselves in gear finally.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Let's hope. There's always hope.
Yeah. Let's hope.
Yeah, and well, we hope you guys turn up for next week's episode of Outer Rim Transmission. I want to thank everybody for joining us live and breaking that trailer down. That was a lot of fun. And, you know, it's a new Star Wars property, right? We don't get those every week. So it's always fun when we can kind of just get into it, get into the nitty gritty, speculate and have fun doing it. But also knowing that, hey, don't get too held up on these expectations because things fall through the cracks. And, you know, Eclipse is way off. It's not going to look anything like this. Hopefully it looks remotely like it. But I'm looking forward to it. And it was a lot of fun breaking down that trailer today. I will say for everybody, once again, if you're listening You can also find us on YouTube every single week. And in this case, it's always good to watch us because, hey, we're sharing photos, we're pointing things out. It's good for the visual medium, of course, if we're doing trailer breakdowns. So you can watch that after the fact. And you can also listen to us on the road, at the gym, whatever you do to kill your time with the podcast. Apple, Google, Spotify, all those. Outer Rim Transmission will be there every Monday with new episodes uploaded. We also have our Teespring store, so you can support the show simply by buying a t-shirt. There on the store, just search Outer Rim Transmission. I want to thank you guys for joining me, Ben and Milton. What are you guys up to this weekend? Where can the people find you?
You can just find me at Real Ben Maynard on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll just be talking sports and Star Wars, of course, as always. And then you can also keep an eye on, I'm doing a 25 Days of Christmas, like counting down, watching a movie every single night. So, that's been a lot of fun, like trying to, watch a different movie every night. And that's always a lot of fun, like just going back and visiting those old classics we all love. Some of the comedies, they just all hold up so well. So that's been a lot of fun, and I'm going to continue that until Christmas Day.
Me, I'm going to continue my Spider-Man rewatch because on the other side of this video, guys, I will have watched Spider-Man No Way Home by our next recording live next Friday. So I'll be sitting here trying to bite my tongue not to spoil anything for anybody, because man, oh man, is this feeling like The Force Awakens, this movie. It's gonna be a hit, and it is selling tickets like crazy. So oh yeah, can't wait to see you guys on the other side for that, because I know that's what's in store for me coming up. But Milton, what are you up to, man? Where can everybody find you?
People can find me at Milton Weber 7 on Twitter. Again, I'm usually out here talking sports, the Star Wars, or whatever just pops in my head that's funny. But no, like this weekend, I'm just going to be enjoying my time with my family, working out like I always do. I'm looking forward to the Christmas holidays, obviously with the Matrix coming out. We got the new Spider-Man, Boba Fett. There's a lot of good TV coming out, a lot of good movies. So I'm excited for the next couple weeks. So hope you guys have a good holiday, and I appreciate you guys listening and watching us tonight, like always.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna shout out the chat one more time because I appreciate you guys tuning in as often as you. We had Chris in here, we had Dark Nerdy Gonzo, we had Maximal. I haven't seen you in here before, man, but welcome, come back, man. It's a lot of good input you put in the chat tonight. We also had Aaron in here as well as Chain. So thank you everybody, and you could be a part of the chat. Like I said, join us every Friday at 9:00. You can find me probably playing Halo Infinite like a madman whenever I get some time. I'm on Xbox Live as Starrapter, so I won't be playing multiplayer much because I'm like bum rushing it through the campaigns to not get spoiled and everything else. But I'm having a great time taking my time through that. So that's what I'll be doing this weekend. I put out quite a few videos. I have my reaction video. If you want to see me act like a madman watching a new Star Wars video game trailer, go ahead. It might be a little bit embarrassing looking back at it in hindsight, but it's on there and it's not going anywhere, I guess. And you can also see my High Republic short stories summary I put out, as well as some more in-depth insight to the Crimson Reign comics that I reviewed as well. So that's all on youtube.com/Starrapter for all of you audio listeners. Go there and do subscribe if you haven't already. That is going to do it for me, for Milton, for Ben. That's going to do it for Outer Rim Transmission number 37. Transmission out. And I messed up